Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be the third in a series of videos, initially starting with my journey through gun culture. This is going to be about another option that is not a direct firearm-related discussion. I'm your host, Tom Hankins, instructor, tutor, consultant, and musician. Let's get through the business part of things. Our website is tsegrp.org. Email is host@tsegrp.org. Facebook, X, Rumble, and Medium.com at TSEGRP, YouTube at TSEDGRP, Instagram and LinkedIn are The Special Educator. Before I play this video, just like the other two, this was recorded some time ago and was not intended for public consumption, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to post this one for public viewing. Down at the bottom middle, you can see my little banners asking you to like, comment, save, share, follow, and subscribe. So like the other two videos on this, I'm just going to get right to this and watch through it, understand this could have some older contact information in it. But let's get going. This one, I'm going to title Air Power. Let me get over here, do my quick business things here. This is one of the episodes that is for private consumptions. I'm not going to go over all the ways to reach out to me, but always starting with safety first. Anytime you're dealing with sending a projectile at speed over a long distance, I don't care how simple it is, whether it's a gun or not. I don't care if it's using a bow and arrow. I don't care if you're using a slingshot, blowgun, makes no difference. Safety first. Please. I'm not going to lecture. I can do other videos than that, but for right now, safety first. A little bit about myself, if you haven't seen any of my other videos. I am a former competitive shooter, trying to get back into it in my older years, but not finding a lot of time right now to do that. I do have instructor certifications for the NRA and basic pistol marksmanship, and by extension of where I live in Massachusetts, I am a Mass State Police certified basic firearm safety instructor as well. I do have limited military training, although it was in the Marine Corps. I did Officers Candidate School and Platoon Leaders Class back in the mid-'80s. All right. So all the disciplines that I've been in so far in my lifetime are listed up there for the most part. There's a couple little things that aren't listed in there, but by and large, it started with archery, moved on down. So today, I want to talk about air pistols and air rifles. These are things that will fire typically plastic or metal projectiles down a barrel, just like it would any normal gun, a firearm. As somebody who grew up with parents who didn't want me to be around guns, it was a very long and laborious process, but this is essentially where it started. I have another video on my experiences and my history, but this is really about the tools that I decided to start using. I'm going to say a little more than 50 years ago, so what I'm about to show you first is at least a half a century old, and to my knowledge still functional, although I don't use it because it's a bit small. This, by the way, there's no ammunition in any of these. There's no powered setup in this. These are not ready to fire in any way, shape, or form. So everything I'm going to show you here is totally incapable of firing anything. Again, safety first. This was my first BB gun. It shoots both BBs and pellets. And this right here is the famous Daisy. I believe it is the... Oh, I'm sorry. It's the 881. I thought it may have been a 661, but it looks like it's the 881. Very simple setup, much like a hunting rifle. Nothing fancy. I know it looks like wood, but it's just fake plastic. Metal where it counts. Nice metal barrel. It does have a rifled insert in it. It does have a bolt, if you will. You can load pellets in there individually if you want to use pellets, or it has a little loading area here, reservoir for BBs. Hand pump for pressure. You can usually pump it up to 10 times. Again, I'm not going to mess around with this thing because it's so old. I keep it for sentimental value. And it does have a traditional button style safety. Buckhorn style rear sight and just a standard front sight, nothing fancy. It works. Does have a little Weaver style rail up here that you can put a scope on. I did put a scope on it long time ago. Had some fun with it. Very accurate. I imagine fairly inexpensive, but ideal for showing a child, somebody who wants to be into guns, but you don't feel safe letting them have them, the way to use the real thing. Now, when my time in college and thereafter, I got away from guns for a very, very long time. They just weren't my wheelhouse. I wasn't a gun fanatic in any way, shape, or form. But after I got married, decided to have kids, so on and so forth, my older son showed interest in stuff like this. So I bought him the closest thing I could find to what I had, and a modern take on it, obviously. So this is another Daisy item, and this is the 953. Very similar. Side bolt action, button safety, pump for air, plastic stock, a little more modernized look to it, more of a sporter style look to it. Nothing terribly fancy, but a little bit different for sighting. So what they use, can't really see it too well. I'll try and put it over here. But you have the dual fiber optic green here, and you have a red sight over the front here, which works very well. Kind of a standard hunting rifle setup, maybe a little bit nicer stock than what I came up with. A little bit bigger size than what I was originally using. Worked out very well for him. This is fun too. So that's an option. So after my son started getting into it, I got the bug to consider doing some more challenging stuff with, something with what I'll call competition style air guns. Competition style meaning designed specifically for shooting at targets. By the way, before I get to these next ones here, which are going to be more target-oriented guns, this is a 10-meter air rifle target. Everybody see it? This centerpiece here is about the size of a quarter. So, and the very center, the center X ring is smaller than my nail. So figure putting this thing a little over 30 feet away from you and trying to hit all your shots inside that black area. And just so you know, that black area is the 9 ring. There's a 10 ring inside of it and an X after that. So that black thing only gets you 9 points if you're hitting towards the outer edge of it. 10 is a full score, and I'm not going to go into scoring in competition. But so here's how I started out. I started out with an air rifle. This is an inexpensive Chinese one that I use with CO2 power rather than pumping it up. And right here, a little bit bigger. This is actually a wood, probably some inexpensive wood material, nothing fancy. I can't even see a brand on this. But what you have here is an elevated cheek rest. You have a full-size stock. You have a very large grip, palm swell. This has a lever-style safety. And rather than just a little lever, this actually has a bolt that you pull up and back. Single shot and metal barrel. Underneath it, there's a chamber, and I can put two CO2 cartridges, two 12-gram CO2 cartridges in there, or I can replace this metal end cap with one designed to use for what we call pre-charged pneumatic. And I have a rifle that's pre-charged pneumatic I'll show you here in a moment. But what makes these different is you're going to have a much larger stock, and the sights are different. On the back, they use micrometer adjustable windage and elevation knobs, and a small peep sight in the back. And that is generally what you're going to find on a target grade gun. The front, you can see it here. I'm going to try and show it off on my shirt a little bit. Oh, there, you can see it back there. So there's like a little circle suspended in the globe up front there, and you can put sight inserts in there and make them different sizes. So anyway, at about 30 feet, offhand, I can get 10 shots with some difficulty in that black circle at 30 feet with this. And this is nothing expensive. Great for next level up. I can't remember where I bought this from. I'm sorry it's been so long, but I'll tell you what, fun little thing to plink around with, and it's more accurate than either of the other twos I showed you. Next. The next step up from that, I recently bought in the last couple of years. This is the Crosman Challenger. This is the second generation version of it. Now, this is pre-charged pneumatic. What I mean by that is this will have a pressure gauge here, and they can put them in different areas. But instead of CO2 cartridges, this has a fitting on the end. It's a quick disconnect fitting, and you use either a hand or an electric pump, and you literally just keep refilling the air. As long as the seals hold, you can keep doing it as long as you want. Pressure on these typically is around 3,000 pounds per square inch, generally speaking. About the same pressure as a scuba tank would use. Built-in hand rest, decent stock. The only difference here is, same general idea. You have a pistol grip style grip. Rather than having a button style safety or a lever style safety, you have this little flip switch in the front, which actually reminds me of my M1A. The trigger on it is adjustable, but it's also got the shoe that you put your finger on. You can twist it and move it up and down. You still have the micrometer rears. You still have the globe front. Adjustable length of pull. This can go in and out. Cheek rest can go up and down, and your buttstock can actually go up and down as well. So very easy to tune this into how you want to hold it. A little different rather than a bolt. This has a lever that you push back and forth. And again, single shot load, pretty much the same thing. The level up on this in accuracy from the prior one is marginal. I will say this. This gun is more accurate than I can possibly be, just physically speaking. And so that becomes my advice. You have to work up to the quality of the gun. Until you have run out of the ability to get more accurate with a gun, there's no point in buying a better one. It's not worth it. Now I'm going to show you the handgun. Now this is an IHZ. It's acquired through the EAA Corporation, which actually is in New York. But this is still several years old. This is more than a decade old, trust me. And this looks more like a real competition grade gun. You have a vastly oversized grip. You have an adjustable grip so you can really get a nice tight purchase on it and rest your palm in there, the bottom of your hand in there. Fully adjustable trigger, but no full trigger guard. It's open in the front. Micro adjustable sights in the back for windage and elevation. Blade front sight, it actually comes with different blade thicknesses, and you can adjust where that is as well. Nice barrel. Your pressure chamber is under here, and it is pumped. Now, this is a single pump, not like the other rifles, which you can pump up to 10 times. This is single pump. There's no bolt. It's just a cover, a lever. I'm going to see if you can get this against my shirt. So, you put your pellet in there, in the end of the back of the barrel. Push this down, and it will lock shut. To change it, there's a little slide here. Just push up, and it resets it. Trigger on this one, very thin, very flat, very nice. This thing, outside of having to pump it up each time, which makes it very affordable to use, is extremely accurate. This is a very, very accurate pistol for what it is. Turn around this way. Finally, I'm going to get to some of the pellets that you use. Now, if you're just plinking around, BBs or just standard grade pellets are fine for plinking around. Some of the air guns that are out there have different calibers of ammunition that they use. I am dealing with, the ones that I've showed you are .177 caliber or 4.5 millimeter. This is the most common, same as a standard BB or typical lead pellet. There's one other option besides the air pistols, the air pistol and the rifles that I showed you, and that is what is out there called airsoft. Generally, airsoft is powered either by spring impact. There's CO2 and there's air, which they call green gas type stuff out there. Point is, you're still propelling something down a barrel at speed, but they use 6 millimeter or 22 caliber, if you will, plastic pellets. The guns that they produce for airsoft nowadays actually mimic the real thing. They look and feel and operate just like their real firearm brothers. I have not gotten into it too much. My older son was starting to get into it, but that faded away. But another possible good training avenue to pursue. So airsoft is viable. One more thing, I'm going to get to ammunition. When you get up to the what I call the match grade or the competition grade or the target grade guns, you're going to probably want to step up your game. Now, all of the manufacturers out there have some type of what we call match or target or competition type pellet. The only difference is these are manufactured under tighter tolerances. These are just two examples of what I use. I do use JSB match, just the flat tops, the wad cutters as they call them. And I just acquired some RWS R10 match. I'm going to try these out. They come in slightly, you can get them in slightly different weights, and you'll find that the really top of the line performers will give you slightly different diameters. 4.48, 4.49, 4.50 with different weights as well. So you can really fine tune it to what you're trying to do. Anyway, case in point, air power is something you can look into. As somebody whose parents didn't want them getting around guns, and it inevitably did happen. It was a very slow and laborious process, but I got there. And I did it safely, even though I'm special, so to speak. I hate using that term, but that's what it is. And so are my kids. So I've been very careful about it, and you can too. And if you need other tips and tricks, please reach out to me. Okay? Enjoy. Again, I'm Tom Hankins. I'm your instructor, consultant, tutor, and I'm also a musician, as you can see. Again, safety first. All the stuff I've been in, and I'll put out content on each of these disciplines. I will. I'm on my way down. I'm going to start with the air pistols and rifles, and I'll move down from there, going along. So until the next installment, stay healthy, stay good, be safe, and I certainly hope you all have a great 2025. Peace out, everybody.